You joined Google to head up their Advanced Projects Division. So what exactly does the Advanced Projects Division do, and what was the culture change like for you moving from NASA to a tech giant?
Well, it was it was a big shift, primarily because Google at the time, this is, late 2000s, the people I was working with were by and large in their 20s. It was sort of a very similar age makeup to what NASA was in the 1960s. But by the time I was at NASA in the 90s, NASA's, the typical engineers and the typical people you work with were not in their 20s. They were in their 40s or 50s. And that's the case today. NASA's age distribution is not skewed towards the really young end, which Google's absolutely was. My wife used to say whenever she stopped by the office, she'd say, like, man, I feel like I'm on a college campus. And really it was a very young environment. The other thing that was true about Google was that there was a sense of urgency, and that's sort of company culture of trying to move quickly, trying to try things, and sort of tolerance for trying things that don't turn out the way you think. I don't want to call those failures, because those are successful experiments, if you'd like, that teach you something, and then you can move on from, even if it's that the idea that you had isn't a good one. That's still something, a useful data point that you can use to go forward. So it had a great experimental culture of moving quickly. And I think something that NASA had gradually lost over the years. They absolutely had that in the 60s. They had a sense of urgency when they needed to move quickly. But the NASA of today is no longer the NASA of the 1960s, unfortunately.
When you look back at the leadership lessons in Google, what would you say some of the things that you saw there that struck you as powerful and different from what you experienced in the past, other than the speed and willingness to experiment? Were there other things that you learned there?
Yeah, but much of the things that I learned was applicable. I think at NASA, a lot of the, bring data. I come to your argument with data. That is very, very similar between the two organizations. And when you make a statement, have something to back it up, and and have the reference for it. Show your data. So it's very data driven in both cases. The difference is really, I think, the speed of and the urgency that drove the speed.